Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. In this one I'm going to be giving you 3 things that if you do, a narcissist will lose their minds. It will drive them insane. It will drive them crazy if you do these 3 things. And the first thing I want to start with is if you become independent. If you, instead of constantly taking their orders and doing what they want you to do, instead of that, if you do what you want to do, if you go where you want to go, if you want to enjoy the activities that you want to enjoy, if you go and do what feels good to you, what's fun for you, what makes you happy, instead of it just always being all about them and what they want, what they expect from you, you constantly having to meet their demands, their expectations. How about if you just brush all of that aside? How about if you just go and do what you want to do for once? How about you go and do what you've been thinking about? What feels good to you? What you like? Guess what happens if you do that? Yes, the narcissist will lose their minds. It will drive them insane. And why does your independence make a narcissist lose their minds? It's because then they lose control over you. And all a narcissist really cares about is their control over you. It may seem like they care about you. It may seem like they have your best interest in mind. That's how they want to portray it. They want you to think that they care and that you matter to them, you're important to them. But actually, no, you're not. They don't care about you. They don't care about your feelings, your needs. They don't care about what's going on with you. They don't care about your happiness. They don't care about any of that. And that's how I know many of you. You haven't been feeling good for such a long time. You can't remember the last time you smiled. You can't remember the last time you were happy. Because you can't remember the last time you got to do what you wanted to do. That's why. And that's just it. Because you have to look at your mind, your body. This is your vessel. This is your temple. And it has needs. Just like a car needs fuel for it to run. Your mind, your body has its own needs that need to be met, that need to be fulfilled. Of course, it's different than with a narcissist because with them, it's all about their ego. It's all about their narcissistic supply. It's all about fueling their disorder. It's all just whatever makes them feel good at your expense. Because it is at your expense. They get to feel good. They get to feel important. But what? At the expense of your happiness? At the expense of what you want? And that's just what it's doing to you. And that's why you're not happy and you haven't been happy for such a long time. That's why you can't remember the last time that you smiled. Because you're around this narcissist and it's just all about them. It's all about what they want. It's all about what they want for you, which is not really for you. It's really just for them. It's whatever makes them feel good. It's whatever makes them feel important. Because deep down, inside, they feel very insecure. They don't feel good about themselves on their own. They can't make themselves feel good. They can't feel important by themselves. And they're very egotistical. They have to use people to make themselves feel important. Well, as for us, of course, it's the opposite. We already feel good. We already feel enough on our own. And that's how we're able to think outside of ourselves. We're able to extend ourselves over to them and consider their feelings and needs. And instead of us worrying about what's going to make us happy, what's going to make us feel good, what do we need? Instead of us even thinking about that, automatically, because they've trained, they've conditioned us, we're just constantly thinking, what can I do for you? What can I give? What can I provide to you? How can I neglect myself, sacrifice myself in this moment in an effort to please you, to make you happy? We've been trained, we've been conditioned to be that way. And here's the crazy thing about it. We've been conditioned to the point, but for many of us, that's enough. That's what makes us feel good now. Sacrificing ourselves makes us feel good. Being a lamb to the slaughter. That's the best that we've got to look forward to. Is just serving ourselves on a plate. That's what makes us feel good now. Well, I can tell you, no, it's not supposed to be that way. It shouldn't be that you just sacrifice yourself. You just abandon yourself. You give yourself away. And you're just supposed to be happy with that. That's supposed to be enough for you. That's supposed to make you feel good. Of course not. You deserve so much more than that. The narcissist will never tell you this, but I'm here to tell you this. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. I'm here to tell you what you deserve. Because you are a human being. You are a person. You have a mind, a body. You have emotions. You have needs. You have a vessel that needs some attention. You need some love. You need some comfort. You need something good in your life. You're not getting that from them. Because they're just all about themselves. They only care about themselves. They don't care about you. They make it seem like they care about you and so they're there to help you. But no, they don't. It's all about how can they use you to serve themselves. And that's how you're left feeling neglected. You're left feeling unwanted, undesirable, not good enough. You're left not having your emotional needs, sometimes even your physical needs not fulfilled. Because it's all about them. It's all about feeding their own ego. It's not about you. No matter how they try to paint it, no matter how they try to make it seem, it's not about you, it's all about them. And here's the thing, no matter how much you sacrifice yourself, abandon yourself, give yourself away to them for less than what you deserve, no matter how much you sell yourself short, it's not going to make a difference. You can give them the moon, you can give them the world, it's never going to be enough. You can give them as much of you as you possibly can. They're still going to want more because they just want to be you. They want your energy, they want your emotions, they want your happiness. Which are all things that they cannot generate from within. And that's why they've got to get that from you. And it's not something where it's ever going to be reciprocal. They're always going to drain you. They're always going to leech off you. Like the energy vampire bloodsuckers that they are. All they can do is parasitically feed off you. They can't reciprocate that energy back to you. They can't make you feel the way that you make them feel. They can't make you feel good like you make them feel good. They can't reciprocate back to you what you are giving to them. They can't meet you halfway. They can't meet you there. They can't give back to you what you're giving out. And yet they demand and expect that from you. And they undervalue it, they take it for granted. Meanwhile, they're constantly taking it from you and they can't even give it back. And this is why you're constantly being depleted of your energy, of your emotions, your life, your passion. This is all being drained out of you and you're not getting it back because they can't give it back to you. They have a void that can never be filled. And no matter how much you pour into them, it's never going to be enough. You can give them your life. You can give them your youth. You can give them everything you have and they're never going to be happy. And you're never going to be satisfied either. Because they're not going to be able to reciprocate even a fraction of what you're giving out to them. They're never going to be on that level. They're never going to be able to do that for you. It's never going to be something where it's like you're going to be feeling as good as they're feeling when they're around you. Because whenever a narcissist is around you, no matter how they're trying to paint it, no matter how they try to make it seem, no matter how they try to redefine, reinterpret it, it doesn't matter. It's only one thing they want from you, and that is your energy. They want that supply. It doesn't matter what they say, it doesn't matter what they do, it doesn't matter how they're trying to make it seem like they're trying to help you, they're trying to be there for you. No, they're not. They're only there to try and take from you. Your energy, your light, your life force, that's what they want. Problem is, they can't give it back. So what good is that for you? And that's why the best thing you will ever do for yourself is become independent. And I'm talking about this from experience. I was around family members, toxic friends, all kinds of people who just constantly brought me down. And once I started to awaken to what was really happening, then they turned against me, they devalued me. They made me out to be the problem, and then they thought they were being smart by spearing me, isolating me. But guess who was smarter? Because I came back 10 times harder. I became super successful. And then it really revealed to them that they were the problem all along. And that they made a big mistake by devaluing and smearing me. Because all I ever needed was that separation, my own independence. And that's just how it is when you're dealing with these parasites, these leeches. Because that's all they're going to do is bring you down, hold you back. And nothing's ever going to get better for you when you're around them. All that's going to happen is you're going to go down more and more and more. You're going to get even more depleted, even more drained, even more unhappy. You're going to end up just like them. You're going to end up just like exactly how they were before they got around you. You boosted them up a bit though when they got around you. Yeah, they felt real good getting around you, being around your energy. But that energy is not theirs. They can't sustain it on their own. They can't reciprocate it back to you. All they can do is take, and then come back and take some more. While trying to conceal it, disguise it as something else. It's never something else. And I'm telling you this right now, it's never something else. Doesn't matter how they try to paint it or portray it to you. All they can do. Write it down in the live chat. Write it down in the comment section. All they can do is take from you. And they will always take far more than anything they're able to give back. And anything they do give back is just them mirroring your own qualities, virtues, and ideals. I've been saying this for years. I did a video on this years ago. And I'm talking 4 or 5 years ago. Titled, "The best you will ever get from a narcissist is an illusion." It's never going to be real. It will only be a simulation of love. Because all they can do is manipulate you. And the reason why they can only manipulate you is because they are fake. They are deceptive. They don't want you to see who they really are. Because if you were to see that, you would no longer want, desire, or think that you need them. You would realize instantly that you don't need them. If they had just revealed who they really are at the very beginning to you, with no stones unturned, and they revealed everything about themselves to you, you would not think that you love them. You would not think that you need them, and that is the truth. Now that's how when you wake up and you become independent, you remove yourself from them, instantly your life gets better. Instantly you start to feel better. You may still feel tied to them. If you're still under the spell, give it time, you will start to feel better soon. Your life, your health, your finances, they will start to improve. But while you're around them, everything goes down. This is why your independence, no contact is so important. This is why we all talk about, all of the coaches, all of the psychologists, what we all recommend for those of you who are dealing with narcissists, those of you who are dealing with people who are toxic, self-absorbed, lacking empathy, compassion, entitled, manipulative, deceptive. What we all recommend if you're dealing with these types of people is to distance yourself as much as possible and go no contact. Because that's the only thing you can do. All they can do is manipulate you and give you a facade. You think that there's something more. Guess what? There isn't. There isn't anything more. What you saw at the beginning, that was it. That's all that they've got to show you. And even that was a facade. What you're seeing now when they're devaluing you, when they're turning against you, when they're making you feel small, they're making you feel like a nothing. What you're seeing now, that's closer to who they are. And do you think that's bad? They're never going to show you exactly what they are. You might have seen the mask slip. You saw them get angry. You saw them rage. You saw them act like a psychopath. You thought that was them. You thought you saw the real monster beneath the mask. You didn't. That was just the tip of the iceberg. They reserved that true, disgusting side of them. That true snake. That true creep. They reveal that side of them to other people who are actually similar to them. As you may have noticed that with family, friends, they're more comfortable with those people. They're not going to reveal that side of themselves to you. They want you to think that they're good, they're perfect. They don't want you to think that there's anything wrong with them. That's why they put on a show for you. They give you everything they got. They give you the idealization, the love bombing. They put you up on a pedestal. And the only reason the mask slips is because they can tell you're beginning to catch on. You're beginning to understand what they're really like. That's why they show that to you. So you're exposing them. That's how it's being revealed to you. It's not their choice. They're not consciously choosing to let the mask slip. It's just happening and they can't control it. Because you're no longer giving them the power, the validation for them to be able to continue with it. You think that they're letting the mask slip on you and you're taking that as disrespect, as an insult to you. But actually, no, this is because of you. Because you're pulling back on your attention, your validation towards it. And so in order for them to feel any sort of power, significance or importance, in order for them to get supply, they have to come down. They have to meet you there. Because otherwise, your perspective of them being bad, of them being wrong, that's then overpowering this illusion, this facade. So they have to come down. They have to meet you there. They can't maintain it at that level. If they could, then that would mean maybe it's real. They must have some kind of internal power to keep it going, even when their external environment is presenting something opposite or contradictory. But yeah, that's why they have to turn against you. They have to devalue you. They have to let the mask slip to some extent because you're catching on. You're no longer validating who they're trying to portray to you, this ideal character. You're not validating it. So they haven't got the power to continue with it. Listen, it's always your choice. The victim always initiates it. You initiate the love bombing phase. You initiate the devaluation. You initiate the discard. Even the triangulation. The smear campaign, the Hoover. You initiate all of this depending on how much you choose to believe in the illusion. They're going off of whatever you're displaying to them, based on your reactions. They might try something initially, they might try and bait you in, but if it's not working, they're not going to continue with it. They're going to stop and try something else, because it's not real. It cannot continue independent of your reactions. It can't. It's not possible, because it isn't real. The false self isn't real. And even the angry side of them, when they let the mask slip, that isn't real. That's why they pull that away. If they think you're going to believe in the love bombing. Or they just ghost you, they disappear. Because it all depends on your reactions. You always have the power over them. You dictate what they're going to do next. It's always determined by you, and that's how we're able to tell you what's going to happen next. I can tell you everything that will happen based on your actions. Because it's all determined by you. You always have the power. And you can take a look around at everything that's happening, everything that they're doing in your life. It's all powered by you. It's all powered by your reactions, your responses to them. They haven't got any power to do anything. They can't. As an example, if you're validating a love bombing, they're going to keep feeding off that. They're not going to devalue you then. Such as, if you're responding to the devaluation, if they're getting reactions out of you, they're not going to love bomb you unless it stops working. It's all dependent on you. You always had the power all along. It is all determined by you. And back to the things that will make them lose their minds. This is why your independence makes them lose their minds. Because you're the one with the power. Everything is determined by you. So if you become independent, if you separate yourself from them, what are they supposed to do without any power, without any supply? They don't know who they're supposed to be now. They don't know how to respond. Because it's all determined by you. They don't know how to act. Unless they can go off and find new supply, and they just act based on however they expect them to act. Because there's nothing generated from within. They have nothing. You do, and that's how everything you see once you got involved with them, it's all just a reflection of you. It's all a reflection of your ideals, or later on it's a reflection of your dislikes, what you don't like. Because it's all based on you. They have no power of their own. They can't just pull a rabbit out of the hat and do something that you haven't already presented to them in some sort of way, whether it's something you like or something you don't like. And if you really look back and you reflect on the things that you have seen from them, everything is based on you. It's all based on your likes or dislikes, your interests or disinterests. Well, typically not your disinterest. It's going to be something that will interest you in some way. Otherwise, they're just going to withdraw. They're not going to go through with it if it's not going to get anything out of you. And that's how once they go down, once they pull back their influence over you, it's because of you. It's always because of you. It's because they know you're not going to be susceptible to it. They're not going to establish that power over you. And that's why they stop that and then they do something else. It's always based on you. And that's why they are threatened by your independence, because then they don't know what to go off of. They don't know how to act. They don't know what to do. Unless they can find someone else who can generate this magical power like you do. And that's why they hate your independence, because the reality is they're never going to find anyone else who can generate their own power and energy from within. Most people are like sheep. They don't think for themselves. They're not truth tellers. They're not authentic. They're not real. You are, and that's what makes you such an excellent source of supply. The second thing that will make a narcissist lose their mind is when you don't take anything they say or do seriously. Everything they do, they're constantly probing you, provoking you to get a reaction. They want you to react. They want you to respond because they have no authenticity. Sorry about that. I think the microphone just ran out of battery. But good thing I noticed it early on. Yeah, they don't develop into anything new. They stay stuck. Because their emotional needs were unfulfilled in childhood. So now they spend the rest of their lives seeking validation, seeking supply. And unfortunately for many of us, we also, in some ways, spend a large portion of our lives seeking validation through trying to make other people happy, through self-sacrificing, abandoning ourselves. And of course, once we wake up to that, we then start again. We then develop our own independence and identity. But as for the narcissist, they never look within. They're constantly just seeking sources, trying to find who will abandon themselves, who will sacrifice themselves for them. And that is then their source of supply, because you're giving yourself to them. You're giving your internal energy, your life force, to a predator who's just going to feed off you, exploit you for qualities that they lack. And that's how they're really just like the zombies. And by the time you finish with them, it's like you feel like you've become a zombie yourself. All of that life And the energy that you used to have is no longer there. But you can get it back once you separate yourself from them, as you begin the healing journey. But this is why they hate it when you don't take anything they say or do seriously. Because they're constantly probing you to see if they've still got you on that same wavelength of being a codependent, a people pleaser, abandoning yourself, sacrificing yourself for them. Instead of just thinking for yourself, thinking about what resonates with you. And that's what it's about when we're talking about coming back to you and finding your own truth, your own identity. It's about finding what's resonant with you, what makes sense to you. What are your passions, your interests, instead of you just sacrificing yourself and serving the narcissist and letting them control you. Because what about you? Of course, there's a reason why you're not conjoined twins. There's a reason why you have your own separate mind, your own separate brain, body, your own separate life. Because you have your own separate purpose. And that is something they never wanted you to figure out. And this is why they want to be the boss. They want to be in charge. They want to have their power and authority over you. They want to tell you what to do. They don't ever want you to think for yourself. They don't want ever you to decide what's right for you. And that's why I can tell you, if you ever do just start to think for yourself, you develop your own independence, you think about what you want, what's going to make you feel good, they're not going to support you. They're going to abandon you. Or they'll smear you to everyone. Everyone you know, everyone in your community. They'll turn everyone against you. They'll make it so that you can't even get a job. You no longer have any friends. You no longer have anything. And why? Because you start to think for yourself. You began to decide what you want to do. And even though what you want to do and what resonates with you, it's nothing illegal, it's nothing immoral. It's just things that you're passionate about. And while with the narcissist, they typically engage in all sorts of illegal and immoral activities. Many of them like to drink a lot, they get drunk, they use drugs, they gamble, they do all sorts of things. And yet when it comes to you, just finding your own independence, you think of it yourself, then they just disown you after that. They want you to take everything that they say or do seriously. They want you to believe in them. They want you to see them as your God. They want you to worship them. But guess what? If you follow them as your gods, if you worship them, it's not going to get you anywhere. Because they're not God. They have no power. They have no authority. But they love making you think that they do. Because by them making you think that they have some magical power or authority, it then gets you to do what they want you to do. You just align with whatever they want from you, and then before you know it, your entire life has passed you by. You never got to live for yourself. You never got to do what you wanted to do. And inside you just feel so empty, so lifeless, like you don't even know who you are. It's like your entire identity just revolves around the narcissist. You have no independence of your own. And yeah, they use fear and provocation tactics. They use fear to control you. They make you fear what would happen if you crossed that line. What would happen if you start to think for yourself, if you made decisions for yourself, if you did what you wanted to do instead of just doing everything for them? They make you feel, what would happen? What would it cost you? What would you lose? And they make it seem like it's not going to be worth it for you. Your independence is not going to be worth the cost of everything that's going to happen. Because it's going to make them lose their minds. They're going to lose control. It's going to make them very insecure. And that's why typically if you stop taking them seriously, as an example, if you use the grey rock, if you stop giving them your reactions, your energy, you stop responding emotionally to them, they're going to notice it immediately. Immediately they're going to pick up on it. And it's going to make them very angry. First, they might try to test you. They might try to see what they can get away with. They might try and see what happens if they push this button. Does it get them the response that they want? They might try little things to try and bait you in. But if you still don't respond, it's going to make them very angry. It's going to cause a narcissistic injury, and then they will rage. Because they have nothing inside of them. They've got to get a sense of existence, significance, relevance from you. Because you exist, you're real, you're authentic. It has to come from you. They can't generate that from within, and that's why they're so dependent on your reactions, your validation. It fuels them, it gives them supply. It validates the false character, which makes them feel omnipotent, perfect, flawless, faultless. But they can only get that if you take them seriously. Now, if you begin to view them realistically and you start picking them apart, then they don't like that. They need you to take them seriously. They need you to view them as perfect. Because that was their trauma in childhood, is that their narcissistic parents needed them to be perfect. And guess what? They weren't perfect. They weren't everything that their narcissistic parent needed them to be. So now they can't be real, they can't be authentic, they can't have a deep emotional connection. All they can do is just put on a performance, an act. All they can do is sell themselves to you. And they need you to take it seriously. They need you to believe in it. They need you to believe that it is real. And if you don't, they lose that power over you because you're no longer giving your power to them. And then it all falls apart. That's why it's so important for them that you do take them seriously. If you don't, they're no longer getting that power from you. Which means that they lose that supply. And then they start to feel irrelevant, insignificant. Their entire identity, or should I say lack of identity, is based on what button do I need to push to get the reaction, the supply that I need from this person, so that I can feel like I actually exist. That's how it is for them. Yes. And that's always how it's going to be for them. That's why the only thing they can do is manipulate you. They can't do anything else. They can only manipulate your emotions. They can only just change your feelings to something else other than who you are naturally and authentically. If you're finding this video helpful so far, give it a thumbs up. The third thing that happens, or rather the third thing that will make a narcissist lose their minds, is when you refuse to be controlled. The only way that a narcissist can feel comfortable if they are able to manipulate you, if they have control over you like a puppet, if they can pull your strings, if they have you in a trance under a spell where they can get you to think whatever they want you to think and get you to act and behave however they want you to act and behave. That's the only way that they can feel like they're in control. It's the only way they can feel secure, because that's just it. When you have no control over yourself, over your own vessel, over your own emotions and thoughts, or even your own behaviors, it then leads them to have to control someone outside of them. It then creates an illusion because they view you as an extension of themselves. So in their minds, if they can control something external, if they can control you, it then makes them feel in control of themselves because they're viewing you as an extension of themselves. And especially if they can cause disruption, chaos in your life, it makes them feel more in control of their own lives. So it's all based around you. It's all based on how they can affect you, your emotions. But when you refuse to be controlled, when you stand up to the narcissist and you say no more, you say you're not going to take it anymore, you say you've had enough, they will really lose their minds because they need you to be under their authority and control. That's the only way that they can function. They need to have an extension. They're broken. They're not functioning properly. So they need to have an extension outside of themselves. They need to have someone externally who they can manipulate and control, like a puppet, so that they can feel secure within themselves. It's really just a distraction, a delusion. When you refuse to be controlled, it then triggers them to reflect back on themselves, and it causes them to feel very insecure. It causes their shame to resurface, and this shame goes back to their childhood when they felt inadequate because they weren't perfect for their narcissistic parents. So that's why they've got to have this control over you. And when you refuse to be in control, you refuse to be controlled. When you refuse to be controlled, you're no longer a narcissistic extension. When you set a boundary, when you say no, when you reject their proposals or ideas, they can no longer control you like a puppet, and instead what happens is they're left alone just with themselves. And by themselves, they feel inadequate. They feel like they're not good enough. Inherently, they feel undeserving. But when we are separate, as our own individual selves, we are naturally in a state of abundance because we do love and accept ourselves. The narcissist feels inadequate. They've got to have control over you like a puppet so that they can feel secure and in control of themselves, which is absolutely crazy. That they're so broken inside that they have to control a person externally. Almost like, if you imagine like a car with a faulty engine or something, and it has to be wired up to something externally in order for it to power it. That's how it is for them because they're broken. They're not functioning correctly, so they need something outside of them so that they can feel sufficient and to keep them going, so that they can feel secure and in control. And that's just it. They cover it all up, this illusion. They make it seem like you've done something wrong. They have to be in control of you. They have to dictate whatever you're going to do. They've got to have the power. They've always got to be 10 steps ahead of you. It's all an illusion, because what happens is if they lose that control, you then see what a monster they are. They get really angry. But then they make it out like it's something to do with you. And then underneath that anger, they actually feel inadequate. They feel like they're not good enough. I got to sit down because there's so many people here just distracting me, waving their arms everywhere. It's making me very dizzy, lightheaded. It's kind of like if you imagine sitting on a carousel until your head is just spinning. Because of course, I mean, if you have people around you just constantly waving their arms around trying to get your attention, it does drive you dizzy. Because, normally we're meant to be more focused on, what we're thinking and what we're trying to do. But yeah, that's just it. The narcissist has to have control over your mind and body. They have to be able to manage your perceptions. They have to be able to extract your energy, emotions, your life force, so that they can feel secure and in control. Because they can't feel that way on their own. They're broken people. They were made to feel inadequate in childhood. So then they abandon themselves, they give up on themselves. And that's why they now need a separate person, a separate mind, a separate body outside of them to give them that which they abandoned in their childhood. It's like they don't even have a soul. And that's where you come into it. That's why they need you as their source of supply. That's why they have to drain the life out of you until you don't even know who you are anymore. You don't know who you are because they've taken your sense of self. They've robbed that from you. They've robbed a part of your identity. And that's how you have to be unaware of self. You can't have a sense of self when you're around them, in order for them to function effectively. Because when you're around them, you have to provide that to them. You have to sacrifice your life force, your identity, your sense of self for them so that they can function. Because otherwise they just fall apart. But yeah, these are 3 things that if you do, a narcissist will lose their minds. 1, if you become independent. 2, if you don't take anything they say seriously. And 3, if you refuse to be controlled. If you do any one of these things, it will drive them insane. It will make them lose their minds. Thank you for the donation, Benno. I'll be honest, I don't particularly enjoy doing videos outside because of all of the distractions, as I'm sure many of you have noticed by now in all of my videos. But I do it for you because I know it's not so entertaining when I'm just always in the room. So I like to do videos outside for you. And of course, I spend so much money from what I gain from the channel, from the ads and from what you donate. I invest all of this money into flights and ferries so that I'm able to come to these destinations and do videos in these environments for you. Of course, I didn't spend all this money and fly all of this way just to sit in my room all day. I did it so that I can come out and do videos in different sceneries. And so that's why I come out to do these videos for you. But yeah, hopefully at some point I can do a video on a beach again, in a more remote area where it's not so busy. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. I hope you got something out of it. Give it a thumbs up down below if you did. Let's work together to get this information out there. And leave your comments down below. Let me know. Have you done one of these 3 things around a narcissist, and how did they react to it? Did they lose their minds? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section down below. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. Click on notifications so that you will be notified when I go live again. Your donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. you can donate to my PayPal. It is paypal.me/Narc Survivor. It can be very difficult sometimes navigating the aftermath and the healing after leaving a narcissist. And that's why, if you want guidance or support your healing journey, I am available for you. And you can book a one-on-one with me by going to my website, which is narcsurvivor.co.uk. And also you can follow me on my Instagram, which is Narc Survivor YouTube. Every day I'm uploading new content from my trip last year to Bali in Indonesia. And also I'm uploading to my stories every day as well from where I am now in the Philippines. So follow me on my Instagram. There's so much content on there for you to see. It's Narc Survivor YouTube. And there's the website and the live chat as well. Thank you to George. All right. Live from this park here in Bohol, Philippines. Good to see my bag is still here. After the last video, someone stole my other bag and everything in it. But thank you all, and I will talk to you soon.